The stars shimmered like distant memories beyond the transparent curve of the command deck. Commander Viral stood at the helm of the Alien Veritas, his long limbs folded behind his back, eyes fixed on the swirling blue-green sphere that floated below. It was beautiful, chaotic, but beautiful. The humans called it Earth. Still transmitting non-stop, said Navigator Shun, a crystalline voice filtering through the silence. Broadcasts, signals, pulses, everything from war music to cooking shows. They've flooded space with their culture. Viral turned slightly, the corners of his mouth twitching downward in thought. And not a single message of peace among them. They don't even know we're watching, murmured Shun. They haven't stopped broadcasting since they began. It's like they want to be seen. Or warned, Viral thought grimly, though he said nothing. The consortium had received the signal 12 cycles ago, a persistent hum of human noise that eventually rose in urgency. Drama, crisis, and then, unmistakably, war. Their curiosity had turned to unease, then outright alarm. Now, the Alien Veritas, one of the high observation vessels, hovered in low orbit to collect final data before a full consortium summit. Viral activated the archive display. Scenes flickered past, soldiers marching beneath flags, mushroom clouds blooming on the horizon, triumphant anthems blaring behind fire and dust. Then shifted to smiling faces, laughter around dinner tables, children dancing in circles. "How can one species carry so much contradiction?" asked Shun. "That's what we're here to determine." The doors to the observation deck hissed open. Ambassador Rowe, a being of iridescent hue and serene expression, stepped forward with measured grace. Her kind, the Vensari, were known for diplomacy and empathy, and she had volunteered to lead Earth's first contact with quiet reluctance. "You summoned me, Commander?" Viral nodded. "We've concluded surveillance. The Council is waiting on our final assessment. I'd like your opinion before I present mine." Rowe gestured, and a projection flickered into life between them. Human schematics. Anatomy, psychology, history. Data compressed into shimmering glyphs. Physiology optimized for endurance, combat versatility, and aggression response, she read aloud. Neurological patterns biased toward reactionary defense and offensive strategy. Emotional spectrum, volatile. Shun added softly, their neural reward system reacts more strongly to conflict resolution through dominance than diplomacy. They find pleasure in winning, Rowe said. Not just surviving, winning. Viral exhaled slowly. Built for war. Or shaped by it, Rowe countered. It's unclear where design ends and history begins. They industrialized violence, Shun said. Mass-produced it. Manufactured ideologies just to sustain it. For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the ship and the heartbeat of the world below. Rowe turned back to Viral. "So what's your decision? Containment? Erasure?" Viral didn't answer immediately. Instead, he watched Earth spin in its cradle of clouds and atmosphere, a world teeming with breath and struggle. "No, not yet. There's a pattern to their chaos. A kind of intelligence beneath the aggression." Rowe raised an eyebrow. "You believe they're more than what they appear?" "I believe," Viral said carefully, "that we're only seeing half the truth. And if we act without understanding the rest, we risk igniting exactly what we fear." Shun looked at them both. "Then you propose contact?" "Yes." Viral's voice was quiet, but firm. "Controlled. Observational. Choose a group of their leaders, scientists, diplomats, minds that seek rather than conquer. Show them who we are. See what they show us in return." Rowe hesitated. "If you're wrong, and they respond with hostility?" "Then we'll know the answer the hard way." Viral tapped the control panel, and a small beacon blinked into life above Earth. "Prepare the envoy. Initiate the sequence." Below, in the clouds of the lower hemisphere, the skies over the Pacific shimmered faintly as the transmission began, non-invasive, encoded in prime mathematics, radiating outward like a gentle pulse of light. And somewhere, on Earth, someone was already looking up. Rowe stared at the beacon's slow pulse. "You may be opening a door we cannot close." "I know," said Viral. "But if humanity truly was built for war, then the question becomes, what happens when the galaxy knocks?" The laboratory aboard the Alien Veritas pulsed with quiet activity, every surface aglow with data streams. Panels shimmered with human genome sequences, cross-referenced with neurological patterns, behavioral logs, and historical data pulled from Earth's open networks. It was all here, 10,000 years of human evolution, catalogued and stripped bare for analysis. Shun hovered near the main terminal, his translucent limbs fidgeting with nervous energy. Their DNA, there's something wrong with it. Wrong? Viral asked, stepping beside him. His voice carried no alarm, only the grave steadiness of someone expecting an answer he wouldn't like. No, not wrong, Shun corrected, gesturing at the holographic helix rotating in midair. But it's too efficient. Their aggression markers are stable, embedded across populations. They have redundancy in their combative traits. If one violent lineage dies, another rises. Ambassador Rowe watched from a quiet corner. Her normally placid face was strained, lips drawn thin. This isn't natural evolution. It's selective pressure. As if war didn't just shape them, it nurtured them. Shun pointed to a cortical map. Their amygdala is hyper-responsive. Fear, rage, territory control. But look here, prefrontal activation. They rationalize violence. Strategize. It's not just reaction, it's doctrine. Viral stared at the projection. And yet they build art. They mourn their dead. They tell stories about peace. That's what makes it worse, Rose said quietly. They know the cost. They feel it, and do it anyway. The door slid open with a muted hiss. A new figure entered, Lyrics, chief xenobiologist of the expedition, bearing a somber expression. You'll want to see this. They followed Lyrics into the adjoining chamber where a simulated environment was running, an Earth-based combat scenario modeled using human neural templates. The simulation had started as a test. Inject conflict, observe the response. What followed had stunned even the machine. Within 10 simulated minutes, the human avatar had assessed the threat, created makeshift weapons, and coordinated with digital projections of its species to outmaneuver and dominate the enemy. The artificial threat, designed by consortium tacticians to be unbeatable, was dismantled with chilling precision. It's not just instinct, Lyrics said. It's adaptability. Their brains anticipate loss, calculate sacrifice, and still proceed. And the more desperate the situation, the more ingenious they become. Rowe looked away. How does a species like this find peace? They don't, Lyrics said. They impose it. Viral folded his arms, absorbing the conclusion none of them had dared speak aloud. Humanity wasn't simply aggressive, it was engineered for conquest. Maybe not by design, not by some ancient hand, but through relentless, generational survival. Every civilization they had studied across the galaxy had grown away from violence. Humanity had refined it. Is there precedent? Viral asked. Another species that evolved through such extremes? No one we've encountered survived long enough, Shun replied. They burned themselves out before achieving spaceflight. Humans are the exception. The terrifying exception. The room fell into an uneasy silence. The flickering simulation faded. The image of Earth returned to the center of the chamber, its pale blues and greens now tinged with something ominous. Rowe finally broke the stillness. What do we tell the Council? Viral's gaze did not move from the rotating planet. The truth. That they are a paradox. Capable of empathy so profound it rivals the most peaceful civilizations we've known, and brutality so instinctive it defies logic. We can't make first contact now, Lyrics said. Not until we know whether they lean toward preservation or domination. Then we deepen the study, Viral said. Deploy remote observers. Target military zones, diplomatic summits, education centers. We find the fulcrum. Rowe exhaled slowly. And if there isn't one? Then we prepare the other report, Viral said. The one that recommends containment. Shun's voice was barely a whisper. What if containment doesn't hold? Viral finally looked away from Earth and toward the others. Then we will have discovered a species capable of waging war not just on itself, but on the stars. No one spoke as the chamber dimmed, and Earth continued to spin beneath them, beautiful and dangerous. The council chamber aboard the Alien Veritas was a crucible of alien minds, its air humming with tightly restrained unease. Projected forms of remote delegates shimmered along the periphery. Elders of the Vensari, the ice-bound Kolhoth, the luminous Axiari, all summoned for the closed tribunal. Earth's profile glowed at the center of the room, surrounded by graphs, neural overlays, and footage collected over 3 rotations. Viral stood before them, flanked by Ro and Lyrics, the silence pressing down like gravity. "You've reviewed the data," he began, voice measured. "You've seen the simulations. The evidence is no longer ambiguous." A Kolhoth delegate rumbled through the translator. "They were forged in conflict." "They didn't just survive war," said an Axiari emissary, her radiance pulsing coldly. "They thrived in it." Lyrics took a step forward. "Their genetic code favors aggression. Their institutions reward it. Even their myths deify it. And yet," Rose said, gently but firmly, "they also create symphonies. They weep for strangers. They imagine futures without blood." A low ripple of dissent moved through the room. One of the Vensari elders flickered into view, a serene wave of shifting color. "You speak of exceptions, Ambassador. Outliers. These do not outweigh a pattern of systemic, glorified violence." Viral raised a hand. "We cannot ignore either side. Their capacity for destruction is real, but so is their capacity for change. We've seen species fall. We have not seen one that stands at this edge with such conscious awareness of it." The chamber dimmed momentarily as an internal calm triggered. Shun's voice filtered through. "Commander, the observation team has returned from surface immersion. There's something you should see." Viral nodded toward the council, then departed with Ro and Lyrics trailing close behind. In the research wing, the team had already debriefed. Footage played across the central display, human cities viewed up close, not from orbit, but eye level. Street vendors laughing. Protesters shouting peacefully in unison. Scientists arguing in labs. Soldiers rescuing civilians from floods. Contradictions, vivid and unavoidable. "They walk willingly into fire for people they don't know," said the lead observer, a quiet-boned Larathan. "They mourn animals. They teach their children not to hate, only to forget when it suits them." Ro leaned closer to the screen. "Did any identify the signal?" Some noticed atmospheric shifts. Most dismissed it as anomaly. But a few. The observer zoomed in on a segment, children gazing up at the sky, one whispering, "Are we being watched?" Viral watched the clip in silence. Instinct. They're not blind to what's above them. Just unready. Lyrics crossed his arms. "And what do you suggest we do with that knowledge?" "Wait. Watch them burn each other to ash." "We act," Viral said. "Not by announcing ourselves, but by testing potential. Subtle influence. Provoke peace, not war." "You want to manipulate them," Lyric said, disbelief tightening his voice. "I want to know them," Viral countered, "before we brand them a threat." Ro turned toward him. "Then send me again. But not above them, in their midst. I'll go to one of their centers of learning. A place where thought still matters more than dominance." Viral hesitated. "You could be exposed." "I'll use projection disguise, neural dampeners. Let me speak with their thinkers. If there's a spark of evolution, I'll find it." He searched her eyes, weighing risk against possibility. Then nodded. "Choose carefully. One place. One chance." Ro departed within the hour, her form disguised to mimic human appearance. She chose a university nestled in the northern hemisphere, a place where discourse thrived in spite of political noise. For days, she walked among them, listening, speaking cautiously, posing as a foreign scholar. She found arguments, yes, but also questions, doubt, hope. She spoke to a woman who taught the ethics of war and wept over every battle she described. She debated with a man who believed conflict was humanity's greatest teacher, and admitted it was also its oldest curse. She shared tea with students who dreamed not of conquest, but of healing oceans, rewriting histories, building machines that didn't kill. When Ro returned, her human guise flickering away as she crossed the ship's threshold, her eyes were tired but lit with something Viral hadn't seen since before Earth's file was opened. "They know," she said simply. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not enough. But some know what they are. And they're trying. Viral looked to Lyrics. Well, Lyrics's face was unreadable. Then maybe they aren't a weapon. Not just one, Ro corrected. They are both hammer and harp. And they haven't decided which hand to raise. The weight of it settled over them. Earth remained suspended in space, as if awaiting judgment. And far below, a war was ending. A treaty was being signed. A child was writing a poem. They had seen enough to know what was coming next would matter most. The Alien Veritas drifted into the shadow of Earth, a quiet sentinel watching a world that pulsed with contradiction. In the central observation hall, the council had reconvened, but this time, the air was different. Expectant. Not tense, but taut with the weight of possibility. Commander Viral stood before the gathered delegates once more, his expression unreadable. Behind him, Earth rotated slowly, clouds unfurling like breath. To its side hovered a new construct, the encoded capsule, a vessel small enough to escape detection but advanced enough to carry knowledge humanity had not yet earned. "We've completed our assessment," Viral said. "We know what they are. And we've decided to show them what we are." There was a murmur across the chamber, a shift in color and light as the delegates reacted. Lyrics stepped forward, clearly uneasy. "You're choosing contact? After everything we've seen?" "Not contact," Viral replied. "Not yet. A seed. A whisper. A choice." He gestured toward the capsule. "This contains science. Art. A blueprint for sustainable peace. Encoded in their languages, their symbols. No weapon, no technology they can reverse engineer for harm. Only ideas." Rose stood beside him, her voice calm but resonant. "We've chosen one location. One time. The message will appear as an anomaly, something they cannot explain away. If they embrace it, study it, listen, then we'll know." "And if they fear it?" Lyrics asked. "If they destroy it or bury it?" "Then we wait," Viral said. "Another decade. Another generation. But not forever." The council was still. No arguments, no grand declarations. Just silence, as they absorbed the implications. It wasn't consensus, but it was consent. Hours later, in Earth's upper atmosphere, the capsule released from the Alien Veritas, slipping through magnetospheres and drifting silently toward its destination, a remote observatory in Patagonia, staffed by dreamers and skeptics alike. It would arrive as a curiosity, an enigma. One that didn't scream, didn't threaten, only invited. On the ship, Viral returned to his private chamber. He watched the capsule's descent in real time, a speck of metal gliding through endless night. Ro joined him, quiet as ever. "You think they'll find it?" she asked. "I think someone will," he replied. "And someone else will understand it." She hesitated. "And if we've misjudged them?" Viral's gaze didn't shift. "Then at least we gave them the chance." They stood in silence for a long moment. Far below, the capsule passed through the upper clouds, catching the first light of dawn. The observatory, just waking, would soon register an unexplained reading. Instruments would buzz. Eyes would widen. Questions would begin. That was all it took. Ro placed a hand against the glass. "If they answer, what do we say next?" Viral smiled, faint and tired. "We tell them the terrifying truth." She looked at him. "That they weren't made to conquer the stars," he said. "They were made to survive a world that no longer exists. And now, they get to decide what they become next." From the shadows behind them, Shun entered quietly, bearing a new report. "Transmission detected. From Earth." Both turned quickly. "Not in response to the capsule," he clarified. "This predates it. A private signal, encrypted, human technology, low-band but clean. Not aimed at anyone. A message cast into space, like a prayer." They moved to the console. The message unfolded in text and sound, primitive, imperfect, but unmistakably human. A voice, older, thoughtful, tinged with melancholy. "If anyone is out there, we hope you see the best of us. Not the worst. We are learning. We're still trying." No one spoke. Rose's eyes shimmered. Viral leaned back, his expression unreadable. Then maybe, just maybe, they're already listening. The signal faded. Earth turned. And for the first time, the galaxy waited.